make sure everything's working. All right, audio sounds good. All right, guys, what's going on? And welcome to another Madden 24 rebuild. Now, this is going to be a little bit risky for me because normally I like to keep rebuilds just one and, not worry about another one, but I'm doing a simultaneous rebuild at the same time. I promise I will finish the Seattle Seahawks rebuild, but today wanted to start a different rebuild with a team from the AFC, and this is a team that I've been thinking about rebuilding for a while because kind of like with Seattle, there's quarterback problems. Not like problems, but indecisiveness, if you will. We basically are going to be rebuilding the Pittsburgh Steelers, trying to recapture some of that glory. And starting out, this team is not bad. They still have some talent at some positions. But, this Steelers team is not really what it used to be. And, Mike Tomlin may not have that much longer to go. I mean, look at this. We have a 73 overall Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph 66, and Mitch Trubisky 65 overall. So quarterback situation definitely needs work. Running back room, solid to start out. Najee Harris, 83 overall. Jaylen Warren, 81. So running back room is actually not looking too bad. Receiving core is decent, but, no more Chase Claypool, and I feel like the Steelers could use another really good receiver, almost on the level of like a Plaxico Burress or a Hines Ward from back in the day. But we still have Deontay Johnson. We still have George Pickens, 83 overall, guys. We have a 77 Allen Robinson. We have Calvin Austin and Miles Boykin. Tight end, Freiermuth, solid tight end, but he's not really anything spectacular. We have Darrell Washington, we have Hayward, and we have Williams. Left tackle, Broderick Jones, 73. Isaac Suamalo, the former Eagle, 80 overall left guard. We have a 70 overall center, 76 James Daniels, right guard, and a 71 Okafor. So our offensive line could use a little bit of rebuilding. Larry Ogunjobi, 75 overall defensive end, and a 92 overall Cameron Hayward. But I'm not sure how much longer Cameron Hayward is going to play. And according to that symbol, it looks like he's already injured. So, but I don't know how much longer Hayward is going to play. 92 overall, but still, 12 years in the league. Keanu Belton, 75 overall rookie defensive tackle. Montavious Adams, 71 overall, backing him up. So, yeah, linebacking core, though, this man right here, T.J. Watt, the face of the Steelers, face of the franchise. He's going to be a cornerstone for this rebuild. 97 overall left outside linebacker, NFL icon right now. Marcus Golden backing him up, 74 overall. Middle linebackers, we have Cole Holcomb, who's 82 overall. We still have Roberts, 79. Quan Alexander, 75. Blake Martinez is here. So we got a lot of middle linebacker depth. Right outside linebacker, Alex Highsmith, solid young player, 88 overall, excited to play with him. Linebacking core outside of maybe our left outside linebacker, it could use a little, our linebacking core is probably the strength of our defense right here, but our cornerback room is just as good. We still have, we have an old Patrick Peterson, 81 overall, and we have Joey Porter, an 80 overall corner as well. So, we could use some work in the secondary, and I'm pretty sure that Patrick Peterson may retire at the end of the season. But our safety room, solid. Minkah Fitzpatrick, one of the best safeties in football, 93 overall free safety. Thompson backing him up. Strong safety, Devontae Kazi, 76 overall. Keanu Neal backing him up. These are two actually former Dallas Cowboys. 74 overall. Keanu Neal looks pretty good. And Miles Killebrew. We have a Boswell, and we have Harvin as our punter. So, this is really a situation where a lot of players on defense are really pretty elite. We have a decent running back. Our receiving core is decent, but, some things could be a little bit better, with starting out with this Pittsburgh Steelers team. The biggest thing to deal with is the quarterback situation. Kenny Pickett at a 73 overall, is he going to get much better this season, or has he hit his ceiling? That's kind of a question that I'm going to have for this particular rebuild when going with the Pittsburgh Steelers. In real life, the Steelers addressed their quarterback issues by signing Russell Wilson after the Denver Broncos cut him. But I don't know what we're going to do with our quarterback situation. And we have a new injury, apparently. Camden Sullivan, our cornerback, is out for 3 weeks with a pulled groin, excuse me. So, We got a little bit of injuries after our first preseason loss where we only scored 7 points against the Buccaneers. So, not starting off the preseason on a winning note, but we got the Bills this week at home. Let's see if we can get a preseason win against them. And we get a 10-point win, so pretty solid. We have our final preseason game against the Atlanta Falcons in year 1, and we'll see what we can get done with this game. And then we'll get to cut days. We'll trim down the roster and get it ready for opening day. We don't have a fullback on the roster, but I'm not going to worry about a fullback in this first year. I don't really think it's completely necessary, at least for right now, so I'm just going to kind of bypass doing that right now. You know, Pickett is 73 overall. He is going to be our starter for the first year of this rebuild. But is he the future of the Steelers? I'm not 100% sure about that. We got to just see. It's kind of like with the Seattle Seahawks and what I'm doing right now. You know, our quarterback situation is a little bit flaky, so we need to make decisions there. All right, well, let's see here. We have 3 running backs that are active, so I don't want to do anything there. We got no fullbacks. Receiving core, we got a lot of guys here, but I really don't want to cut any of these guys. What about offensive line? Do we have like any extra guys that are kind of... Nope. Not a whole lot of extra depth. I'm going to put Isaiah Lutermilk on practice squad. Maybe a risk. He may get picked up. Defensive tackles. We have 3 active right now. Kyron Johnson. I'm going to move you to practice squad. Maybe a risk. Christian Kuntz. He'll kill a penalty if we cut him. We got a lot of middle linebackers, though. So I'm going to put Mark Robinson on practice squad. I'm going to cut Blake Martinez. I know that he actually, you know, has some experience, but just somebody that, you know, is taking up some space right now. I'm going to cut Michael Walker as well. Got to cut one more guy. Probably a corner. All right, I'm going to put Corey Trice on practice. All right, and that's going to be our cut days. Kind of, you know, lost a little bit of our linebacker depth, but, you know, going into the season, we got to have 53. And another thing I'm thinking about is that, you know, Mike Tomlin is kind of wearing thin in real life with the Steelers because he hasn't had the nearest success as when Ben Roethlisberger was here. So is Tomlin going to be a guy that we think about moving on from if we really struggle in this rebuild? Maybe. But right now I'm not going to make that decision until we're at least a couple of seasons into this. Just because I don't want to do a disservice to him and say that it's all of his fault, when in reality we don't have the same amount of talent that we had a couple of years ago when this team was competing for playoff positioning, when there was the big 3 of course, Roethlisberger, you had Le'Veon Bell, and you had Antonio Brown. That team should have at least gotten to, you know, 1 Super Bowl, if you ask me. So, you know, we're kind of trying to rebuild around that. We do have a solid running back. Maybe we can get another elite receiver this offseason to go with Pickens and Johnson. And maybe we can finally get the quarterback situation resolved, and we can just be in better shape. All right, so let's advance to the middle of the season in year 1 and see where the Steelers are at. You know, we're in a pretty tough division. We got the Ravens, we got the Browns, and we've got the Bengals. The Ravens and Bengals are going to be the teams that are going to be probably the most competitive in year 1. Maybe the Browns, but out of all the teams in the AFC North on paper in terms of talent, I feel like the Steelers are the worst starting out in 2023. But like I said, this division is pretty stacked. It is pretty loaded. So, you know, barring injuries, Ravens and the Bengals are going to be the team to beat in this rebuild, if you ask me. And that's what I like about doing rebuilds with teams that are in tough divisions that aren't as good as those teams, because you need to work your way up to be able to compete with those teams. So that's what I'm trying to do here with the Steelers. And leading the Steelers back to past glory is, something that they haven't tasted in a while. This team hasn't won a world championship since 2008. They haven't been to a Super Bowl since 2010. And, I'm trying to lead them back to, recapture past glory. I mean, it's one of the most successful teams in NFL history. 6 Super Bowl championships. I mean, that's pretty good if you ask me. It's one of the top teams in NFL history in terms of success. So, trying to recapture some of that here. Well, let's see where we are in the middle of the season. Expectations aren't too high in year one. I mean, we're just in a very competitive division, so I wouldn't be surprised if we have a decent record, but we're at the bottom of the division. But you never know. So we're not starting off too bad. We're 3-3. Looks like we got some weekly award winners heading into Week 8, and Kenny Pickett won AFC Offensive Player of the Week. 281 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick. He was sacked 3 times. Wow. Not a bad day at the office for Pickett. And I'm not planning on putting in Trubisky or Rudolph, just to see what they can do. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep Pickett in there for the whole season and just really see what he can do in year one. That's the plan for right now for year one with the Steelers. See what Pickett can do and just plug him in. All right, let's take a look at the negotiating screen and what players we can start negotiating with here. We don't have a whole lot of cap space. We only have $6.1 million to spend with. We're just as broke as we were in Seattle. Some of these guys are pretty solid, but Alexander and Golden are backup players, and the same thing with Neal and the same thing with Sullivan. And a lot of these guys are in the same boat in terms of they're basically backup players. So, really not leaning towards bringing anybody really back. Levi Wallace is pretty tempting in terms of corner depth, but I feel like we can, maybe just, for a short deal, maybe he can come back. Let's see. Happy to sign. Okay. I think that's it, though. I think that's really all we're going to worry about bringing back. I think everybody else can walk. We'll let everybody else walk in free agency this offseason. Wanted to get one of our, maybe our third best cornerback here for depth, so we're not losing just everybody in the secondary. 3-3, 4-3 Jaguars this week. This is a pretty tough matchup. We're currently third in the AFC North. The Browns and the Ravens, like I suspected, are going to be pretty competitive. The Bengals are not that far back. And we lost, and now we are down to the bottom of the division at 3-4. Like I said, kind of with the AFC East and the Jets rebuild, we could have a decent record, even at like 9-8, and not make the playoffs, and even finish at the bottom of the division. This AFC North division is just very competitive. There's good teams in this division. Fortunately, we got the 2-5 Titans this week. Maybe we can get a win this week and get back to 500, but we'll see. And we don't. So we've lost another game. Let's answer our media question. Right now we're 3-5, kind of falling out of contention a little bit. I don't kind of watch us lose, so we have to turn this thing around. That's what I'm going to say. Leaning towards that in terms of, we're thinking playoffs, maybe possibly, but if this team is going to be this way, then we got some work to do for obvious reasons. All right, we got the Packers this week. They're 6-2. They're having a pretty good season, and we're just trying to get ourselves off of this losing streak that we're on right now. But I don't expect it to end against the Packers. And we've got 2 consecutive divisional games next with the Browns and I think the Ravens. And we do snap the losing streak, so that's good. We won by 7, and we've got 2 divisional matchups. Got the Browns, and then we got the Ravens. The Browns are number 1 in the AFC North, and the Bengals are 5-4. So, yeah, and we have a new injury, so let's see who's hurt. Hopefully it's not anybody too big. So Roberts, one of our backup linebackers, is hurt for 5 weeks with a quad tear. And, Joey Porter, our best corner, is out for 1 week with a high ankle sprain. Well, not our best corner, but our second best corner behind Patrick Peterson. Oh, boy. Well, he's going to be out for 1 game, but we have Wallace in there to back him up. That's why I was thinking, hey, Patrick Peterson I feel like is going to retire, so the best thing I could do is definitely look at bringing back Wallace, so that way we at least have some cornerback depth in there and we retain some of that. But everybody else, who is contracts are up this year. I'm going to let them walk. This is a big game against the Browns. See if we can get a win, pull off an upset this week. And then we got the Bengals right around the corner. And we get a big win against the Browns. It was ugly, but we get an 8-point win. It was 15-7. Wow. So talk about an upset win. Knocks the Browns down. Well, they're still at the top of the division. Ravens are 6-5. Bengals are 5-5. If we beat them, we could catapult ourselves to, well, we're third in the AFC North right now. But we win this game, we could get back to, of course, being over 500 and put us back maybe in contention to get back to the second place in the division. But I don't know about that. Big game against the Bengals this week in Joe Burrow. See if we can get a win on the road in Cincinnati. And we do! And we're back over 500, and we are now firmly in third place in the division, which doesn't really mean too much. But it looks like, unfortunately, we got another new injury. So we've gotten the injury bug the last few weeks. Roberts is still out for 3 weeks with a quad tear. George Pickens dislocated elbow out for 5 weeks. Wow. So our best receiver, one of our best, our other good receiver is out, and we also have Darrell Washington out as well. Well, how many games do we have left in the season? The regular season, at least, because who knows? We may not make the playoffs. Well, Pickens is going to be back in 5 weeks, but I really don't want to just have... Let's go to the free agent pool and let me see if there's a decent receiver out here that can help us. I don't expect anybody too good to be left at this point of the season, but man, Julio Jones is out here. We're going to bring in Marvin Jones Jr. for the next few weeks to help us out in our receiving corps, just to give us some help, assistance, while Pickens is out for like 5 games. I thought about Julio Jones, but Jones is just so old. And, Marvin Jones is, pretty old too. So, got to go with somebody. And, of course, because we signed him, we have to cut somebody because we didn't put Pickens on practice squad. On IR, excuse me. So we got to cut somebody. I don't know what we're gonna do. Maybe we have to cut a receiver at this point. Austin. So Marvin Jones, he's gonna fill in. We do have Allen Robinson, but I wanted to give us at least another decent receiver during this point. All right. Well, I actually don't want to cut Miles Boykin. Defensive tackles. Do we have extra? No. All right. Darius Rush. We're going to go ahead and cut him. All right. We cut our worst corner. So bringing in Marvin Jones Jr. will be helping the receiving corps for a little bit until Pickens comes back. I think that's worth it. Let's check out the playoff picture and see what things are kind of looking like. Okay, well, it looks like that we're in the playoff picture. Wow, and not only that, but it looks like there's room for 3 teams in the AFC North in the playoffs this year. So right now, we would actually be the 7th seed in the playoffs. Okay, then, so maybe there's a chance. You're telling me there's a chance. Okay. But, even at 6-5, we're going into pretty tough stretches, although this game against the Cardinals is kind of an easy matchup, so we shouldn't lose this game. We got the Patriots, the Colts, and we got the Bengals the next few weeks. So every game here is pretty big to hold on to a playoff spot. All right, we get a slim 7-point win against the Cardinals. We're 7-6 right now. We're still in the playoff picture as the 7th seed. Nothing has changed, but right now it's looking like that the Ravens, Browns, and us would make the playoffs today. So there's room for teams. And the thing is, we're only 1 game back from behind the Browns. We're tied with the Ravens. We're 2nd in the division right now. So this is a tight division race in year 1. But this division is going to be competitive for what I hope the next few seasons. So, that's what we're kind of in for our time with the Steelers. Alrighty, Patriots are 3-9. We really shouldn't lose this game. Fortunately, we've got a matchup against back-to-back 3-win teams. We had the Cardinals last week. We got the Patriots this week. We just got to beat who's in front of us, and we control it. All right, so we get a 2-touchdown win. We're 8-5. We are still second in our division, and I'm guessing that the playoff picture is still looking pretty much the same. Yep, still locked in as a 7th seed right now, and we have 4 games left in the season. All righty then. So, but this game against the Colts is probably matching us up against the best team, one of the best teams in the AFC. So, this is going to be a pretty tough matchup for us. But it's also a real test to see how much of a playoff team we really are. Are we a playoff team or are we fake? And we may be frauds. But we got weekly award winners. Let's see who won an award this week for us. Damontae Kazi got Defensive Player of the Week in the AFC with 9 tackles and 2 interceptions. So pretty good game for him, even though we lost to the Colts. So what did that do for the playoff picture for us? We're still in as the 7th seed. The Colts have the number 1 seed in the AFC. Right now, though, there's only 2 teams, us and the Browns, from the AFC North that are even in the playoff picture. The Ravens are out of the playoff picture right now. So the Browns must be first in our division. Yeah, the Browns are first. We're second. Ravens are third. Bengals are fourth. And we actually play those Bengals this week. So we were able to beat them earlier. So can we go 2-0 against the Bengals in year 1, which would be huge for us as we try to establish something in 2023. Let's see if we can get this win against the Bengals. Not going to be easy, even though we are playing at home. And we can't beat Joe Burrow this time. And we're still second. Where are we in the playoff picture now? We're out of it. So the Bills have now jumped up to the 7th seed. So now it's looking like that the division winner is going to make the playoffs, and the loser and the second place winner is going to be sitting at home. And we have 2 games left. We've got the Seahawks and we've got the Ravens to wrap up the regular season. The Ravens are basically the same boat as us. So, yeah, you're fighting for playoff positioning, but this is a playoff team. But if we fail to make the playoffs, it comes back to coaching at that point. We just can't really falter to end the season. So, alrighty. We can't lose to the Seahawks. We can't lose to this team. They're 5-10. We're 8-7. And we get a win. Win by 28 points. All right, we're second in our division. And we're back in the playoff picture. Okay, so a win against Seattle put us back in the playoff hunt. So that's pretty good. Alrighty then. Well, not what I was fully expecting, but still got a shot here. Well, we're playing the Ravens this week. We're 9-7. They're 8-8. Got a feeling that we'll still be in the playoffs. I'm going to risk it. See if we get a win and if we're in the playoffs or if we're not in the playoffs. And we lost and we didn't make the playoffs. Wow. Ugh. Well, you know what? Not bad for the first year of the rebuild, considering the effort that we have to make to get to the top of this division. We finished third in the division, right behind the Ravens. And because the Ravens beat us, they did make the playoffs. So they took our spot. And that game really wasn't even too close. We lost 49-21. So we obviously got work to do. But, hey, it's a rebuild for a reason. So let's go ahead and get to the wild card round, and we'll see what happens with the playoffs in year 1. I'm a little bit encouraged, though. Kenny Pickett, I guess, actually played pretty decently in his in this season as a starter, and he played pretty much the whole season, except he might have been banged up a little bit because I saw that Mason Rudolph got upgraded a little bit. So it looks like that Kenny Pickett stayed relatively healthy for most of the season, so that's kind of pretty encouraging. And let's see the Pro Bowl roster. Let's see if we got any Steelers make the Pro Bowl this year. Allen Robinson made the Pro Bowl. Wow, that's impressive. TJ Watt, he made it, of course. Highsmith made it as well. So 3 Steelers so far have made it. All right. So we had TJ Watt, Highsmith, and Allen Robinson, our third best receiver, made it. All right, let's take a look. It looks like the Super Bowl matchup is the Bears and the Dolphins. This is pretty surprising. So the Bears pulled off an upset in the first round. They beat the Packers. Then the 49ers beat the Commanders. The Eagles beat the Panthers. And then the Bears pulled an upset against the number 1 seeded Dallas Cowboys, 28-23. The 49ers beat the Eagles again in the playoffs. So it was 49ers and the Bears upset the 49ers on the road. AFC Colts beat the Ravens. Dolphins beat the Jaguars. Browns shut out the Bills. That's surprising. And then the Chiefs beat the Browns, and then the Dolphins beat the Colts, and the Dolphins upset the Chiefs. So 2 upsets in the NFC title games. Bears and Dolphins in the Super Bowl in the first year. That is definitely not on the bingo card, but that's what we have for the 2023 season of this rebuild. All right, so let's check out yearly awards and see if any of the Steelers were even in the running for any awards this year. The MVP is Jalen Hurts, Coach of the Year, Shane Steichen of the Colts. So shout out to him, Offensive Player of the Year. No Steelers, Defensive Player of the Year. Alex Highsmith came in second. Wow, not bad. TJ Watt, 7th. We got some good defensive players here. So that's what I like about this rebuild going into this one. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Oh, Joey Porter, 7th. Best QB. Kenny Pickett coming in 5th. Not bad for Mr. Pickett. Best running back. Najee Harris, 9th. Best receiver. Allen Robinson, 5th. All right, best offensive lineman. No Steelers, best defensive lineman. Cameron Hayward, 6th. Best linebacker. Alex Highsmith did win an award. Best linebacker in the AFC. Nice. And TJ Watt finished 3rd. Nice. Best DB. No Steelers. Best kicker. Boswell finished 3rd. Alrighty then. So we had Alex Highsmith won best linebacker in the AFC. So good job by him. Alrighty. All right, well, let's see who wins the Super Bowl between the Dolphins and the Bears. Interesting matchup. And the Bears win their first Super Bowl since 1985. Justin Fields is the MVP. They beat the Dolphins 34-27. MVP was Hurts. Doug Peterson, Coach of the Year from the Jaguars, actually. Offensive Player of the Year, Isaiah Pacheco. Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Rashee Rice. And Will Anderson, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Alrighty then, so that's how the first year shapes up for the rebuild of the Steelers. And we'll get to staff week, and we'll get through this, and then we'll get to the offseason and see what we got to work on, because we got work to do in the offseason. And I'm going to let everybody else walk. I'm not going to, be signing anybody, before they hit the free agent market. We'll check out free agency and see how much money we have to spend and see what we can do in the first off season. But my guess is not really too much. And we won't have really a high pick either, because we've we finished like one game out of making the playoffs. So we're going to have a lower pick. So we did have a few retirements. I see them at the bottom right there. Marvin Jones Jr., who we brought on to help out, retires. So did Patrick Peterson. I expected that. And Cameron Hayward retires after 13 years. So we already have a big void to fill at defensive end. We got to replace our best corner. And, you know, we could use another good receiver. So we do have some work to do on replacing our defensive end and our best corner. So we do have work to do this offseason. Let me actually take a look at the negotiating screen now because those guys are deciding to retire. We do have some more cap room to work with now, so I want to see if there's any corners or defensive ends that I just feel like that maybe we should just give a new contract to just for depth reasons. So I'm actually going to just bring back Armon Watts on a cheap one-year deal. And I guess he didn't take it. All right, well, I'm not going to franchise tag him either. That's going to eat up a lot. So this is everybody who's walking. We're letting everybody else walk. Thought I could get Watts back on a cheap deal, but he wants a multi-year deal, so we're not going to budge on that. All right, so let's get to free agency, and let's take a look at our roster and see what holes we need to look at filling up. I also know that Mason Rudolph is going to hit the market, so that basically makes Mitch Trubisky our backup quarterback for right now. We could look for another better backup quarterback, but we will make that decision when we get to that. All right, so let's take a look at our roster heading into the offseason and see what we got to do. Okay, so we have Trubisky backing up Pickett, and Pickett actually got up to a 76, so he's actually developing decently. Could use a third running back. We do need a fullback. We have a bunch of receivers now, so I'm not too worried about trying to look for another receiver. I think we're pretty good at receiver right now. We're pretty good at tight end. Let's see. Are any offensive linemen needing upgrades to certain positions? We could use another center for backup reasons. We actually didn't lose any of our starting offensive linemen, so that's good. We could use an upgrade at right end because Cameron Hayward retired. We definitely need some help there. We could use some additional help at left defensive end as well, but I think right end could definitely use an upgrade. We need some backup at left end. But defensive tackle, excuse me. Other than that, we do need some depth at corner. We did bring back Levi Wallace, but of course we let but Patrick Peterson retired. So I'm glad I brought back Wallace now. Free safety. Free safety is still looking solid. Kicker and our punter are still here, so... Alright, so let's jump into free agency and let's take a look at who's out here. Who's available in the first off season. We do have a little bit of money to spend. It's not a lot, but we have some money that we can spend for the first off season. So we're not in cap hell. We have $33.5 million to spend. Let's just take a look at quarterbacks. So Baker Mayfield is available at 78 overall, but Kenny Pickett is about at the same level as him. So I'm not going to really sweat that too much. We do need a new fullback. So I want to get a scheme fit guy, but a guy who wants to come here. So Derek Watt is not a scheme fit guy, so we're going to bring in another Watt. Let's just bring him in on a one-year deal. Team-friendly deal. Let's see if he takes this. Hopefully he does. It's 32. Still have a lot of money to spend. Okay. Let's check out receivers. Nobody really good here. Tyron Smith is available. That could be a big upgrade for left tackle, but we got to spend money wisely here. We do need a backup center, so I'm going to actually look for a center to back up Cole. Let's go after Lamont Galliard. Get some depth at center behind him. What about right ends? Ooh, Michael Wait, where's the... Oh, right ends. Yeah, right ends is where we need some help. Chase Young is out here. Leonard Williams. You know what, let's bring in Leonard Williams. Let's get... we need a replacement for Cameron Hayward, so we're going to try to bring in Leonard Williams. A bit of a big name, but we're going to bring him in. Are we just only offer? Okay, well, I'm not going below the neutral deal, so I think we're still going to do that. Let's get some depth at defensive tackle as well. Kevin Givens. Greg Gaines actually looks pretty solid, so I'm going to bring him in on a one-year deal. Get him in on a little bit of a cheaper deal. Yeah, we're his only offer, so we're probably going to be able to land him pretty easily. Now we're down to $14.8 million. Let's see. About corners. Stephon Gilmore is out here. Sean Murphy-Bunting is available as well. Well, we just lost our #1 corner, so I'm going to get Sean Murphy-Bunting in here to give us an upgrade. It's probably going to eat up the rest of everything that we have left in terms of room. No, we still have $9.1 million. Okay, so, and we're Sean Murphy-Bunting's best offer right now. But we need corner help, so, yeah. All right. So let's take a look at the players we targeted for the first wave. Leonard Williams, Cameron Hayward's replacement. We're going after Sean Murphy-Bunting as well because we also lost our #1 corner, and we could use another solid corner. We're going after Greg Gaines for defensive tackle depth. Derek Watt to be our new starting fullback, and Lamont Galliard as our backup center because we need a backup center for Cole. So that's what we're going with for the first wave. Let's see if we landed anybody. Hopefully Leonard Williams. Williams is the guy that I really want to land because we need a solid replacement for Cameron Hayward. All right. Let's see if any of the guys signed that we wanted to go after. All right, so Gaines, Watt, and Gaylord are still considering, but does that mean that, yes, we got Leonard Williams and we got Sean Murphy-Bunting. So we got some 2 stud defensive free agent signings that will be huge for us. I like that. I like that a lot. Greg Gaines, Derek Watt, and Galliard, they haven't received any other offers from any other teams, so we'll wait and see what happens with that. We could use another backup. We could use another running back because we don't have somebody else to back up because we lost our third running back. But you know what? We're just going to get younger there. We'll just draft some guys. Let me take a look at our roster, actually, and see maybe what other positions we need to look at, you know, for depth. Let's see if we got to look at anybody else here. All right, we're going to land Watt to fill the void there. There were some more solid offensive linemen out there, but I like the way that our offensive line is right now. I'll get a backup, I'll go get a backup right tackle because we need some backup players there. Defensive tackle, we need to get at least one to help out with our depth there, so. So Murphy-Bunting is our second best corner behind Joey Porter. But getting Bunting will definitely help out with our corner depth. But I think I want to actually go get another corner because we have like no corners. Because we only have 4 cornerbacks. So I think if I get at least one more, that'll definitely help with our roster numbers. Okay, so backup corner, backup right tackle. Next up. All right, so let's get back in here. Backup right tackle. Tyree Phillips. He looks pretty solid. Let's give him a team-friendly deal. See if he'll come here for this. We're his best offer. Okay, good. Don't have to spend super duper much on this guy. All right, as far as corners, we just need a guy that's going to be a good depth corner that fits the scheme. I'm going to go after Chandon. You know what? Sullivan, I think, was actually a guy that used to play for us. I could be wrong about that. Let's make him a cheap one-year deal. See if he'll come here for us for that. All right, and now we only have like 2.69 million, so we're just going to leave it at that. All right, so this is who we're still targeting. We're still targeting Gaines. We're targeting Sullivan, Phillips, Watt, and Gaylord. Hopefully we get all these guys, and that'll probably do it for free agency for us. See if we land anybody. Hopefully we do. But good thing we got Sean Murphy-Bunting and Leonard Williams. Those are two big free agent signings that we needed on defense to help us out. So let's take a look here. All right. So Gaillard is, he's got a better offer from the 49ers. All right. So we did get Gaines. We got Sullivan, we got Phillips, and we did get Watt. So we're still doing negotiating with Gaillard. If he goes to the 49ers, in my eyes, that's not the end of the world. So I'm going to risk it and see if he does come to us. If he doesn't, we'll look at centers in the draft for depth. So let's advance. And then we'll kind of get ready for draft week after this wave. All right. New free agency recap. Let's see where we're at. All right. We did get Gaillard. Good. Awesome. And now we're at 3.09 million, so we still have a little bit of extra money to spend this offseason if we want to, but here's the free agency class for the first offseason. Leonard Williams, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Greg Gaines, Chandon Sullivan, Tyree Phillips, Derek Watt, and Lamont Gaillard. Those are our free agents for the first year of the rebuild. Definitely getting some guys to help out for depth, so pretty excited about those guys. Let's go private workouts. First things first, let me actually go ahead and adjust some of the numbers for some of our new players if I want to, just kind of see what I want to do. So for Sean Murphy-Bunting, do we have a guy wearing 0? Because that's what... Although him wearing 28 is pretty solid too, but I want to see if maybe he can wear number 0. Okay, all right. Discard changes. All right, so somebody is wearing number 0. But let me see if there's another random guy wearing number 0. Matt Landers. I'm actually just going to go ahead and cut you. You're just eating up room. All right. Just going to adjust some of the numbers here. Let me see. What other numbers does like Leonard Williams wear, or has he worn? 99, 94, 92. Okay. Let's see if 92 is available. That's what he wore when he was with the Jets. Well, 94 is available. We're actually going to have him wear 94. He wore that at USC. Okay. Phillips. All right. Just wanted to kind of, fix up the numbers a little bit. We did have to release one of our corners, but, that guy probably wasn't going to get much playing time anyway. All right, let's go to Mock Draft 5, and now that free agency is passed for us, let's see what they have us projected to do in the draft. They got Joe Alt projected to go #1 overall, the tackle out of Notre Dame to the Jets. That is not what I expected in this rebuild. Drake May projected to go 4th to the Patriots. Where they have Caleb Williams projected to go. Marvin Harrison Jr. not till 15th. Is Caleb Williams projected to slip to the 2nd round? Hold on, I got to make sure that my eyes aren't playing tricks on me here. I do not see Caleb Williams projected to go in the 1st round. Wow. They have us projected to select Javon Bullard, strong safety out of Georgia. That could be a solid pick. But we also could look at maybe Braylon Trice or maybe this corner, Kalen King, even though we have Sean Murphy-Bunting. And Denzel Burke out of Ohio State might be available as well. Or maybe a free safety, Kitchens out of Miami. Leonard Taylor, a defensive tackle. Maybe we could go with a skill position guy, a receiver. If Harrison Jr. slips that far, we might snag him. But that's tough to manage. Well, we'll see how the draft kind of goes. But, some part of me is going to be tempted to take Caleb Williams if he slips that far in the draft, even though we have Kenny Pickett. But we'll see. Let's see how the draft just unfolds, and, we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens once we get to our first pick. All right. Time to start the draft.
The New York Jets are now on the clock.
All righty. First of all, let's see who's here. Well, Trice was selected before. Caleb Williams is still on the board. It's too tempting, guys. It really is too tempting. It's too tempting. You know what? Okay. I'm going to trust Kenny Pickett. We're going to go with the safer pick. We're going to go with Kitchens, free safety out of Miami. I hope this decision doesn't come back to haunt me for this rebuild, but we're going with Kitchens.
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
As a free safety out of Miami as our first pick in the draft. Alrighty. I'm hoping that I don't live to regret not taking Caleb. Alright. We could use some more receiver help, so I'm going to take Malik Neighbors out of LSU. Let's get some receiver help in here. He's not a scheme fit guy, but he still looks pretty solid. Alrighty. There's a lot of corners and receivers available. But you know what? Let's take Rook or Hawanaro, defensive tackle from Clemson, because we need some defensive tackle depth. He fits our scheme, so we're going to take him.
The Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock now.
Let's get some offensive line depth. Let's go with Zach Frazier out of West Virginia. We're going to go with him. Frazier.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are now on the clock.
All right, here we are in the 5th round. Let's actually go with another skill position guy. None of these running backs are really projected super high. Okay, so these guys will probably be available next round or two. Let's see about quarterbacks that are still left here. Okay, well, these guys are all projected to go undrafted, so. All right. Clock's getting low. Let's go with Max Melton of Rutgers. Get some more corner help. Okay.
With the next selection, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right, let's see about running backs and quarterbacks that are still available, because I feel like we need to take at least one of them for like skill position reasons. All right, well, they're all projected to go undrafted, so. So let's take Marshawn Lloyd out of USC. I know he's projected to go undrafted, but we're going to select him. USC running back. Maybe a reach, but let's go with him. All right.
It's the Steelers now on the clock.
All right, last pick of the draft for us. Let's go out and Sam Hartman was just picked. The Broncos picked him. I was gonna take him if he was available. We're gonna take a chance and we're gonna take Tuolia Tagovailoa. We're gonna take the other Tagovailoa brother out of Maryland as our backup quarterback, just in case. Because we passed on taking Caleb Williams, even though he was there. But we didn't need him. I went with Kitchens at free safety instead. Because I still want to give Pickett a chance going into year 2. Hopefully he doesn't come back to bite me. But we can always get a younger quarterback later in the rebuild. So Cameron Kitchens, free safety out of Miami, was our first round pick, 18th overall. We took Malik Neighbors in the 2nd round, a receiver out of LSU. Then we took Rook Orahoro, defensive tackle out of Clemson, in the 3rd round. Zach Frazier, center out of West Virginia, was our 4th round selection. Max Melton, corner out of Rutgers, 5th round pick. Marshawn Lloyd, halfback from USC, 6th round selection. And finally in the 7th round, Tuolia Tagovailoa, quarterback out of Maryland, 7th round selection. Alrighty then. So let's take a look, make sure we adjust our roster a little bit, and we'll get everything ready for the preseason based on how I want the roster to look like. $55 overall for our 3rd quarterback, but hey. Marshawn Lloyd, let's see. Marshawn Lloyd. Well, he wears number 0, but we already have somebody wearing 0. Oh, he can wear number 1 if he wants to. Let's see if we can give him number 1, like he was wearing at, looks like South Carolina before he transferred to USC. All right. Let's go ahead and give him number 1. our third string running back right now. You know, Lloyd 63 overall. Maybe he can develop a little bit. We just need another, running back for depth. Malik Neighbors. Okay. Malik Neighbors. All right, he wears number 8 at USC. But, of course, that's Kenny Pickett's number. So, Neighbors, we will have you wear something different. We'll give you maybe a number in, like, the 80s or something like that. Let's give you 87 for your rookie year. Hopefully Neighbors can develop and be a good receiver, but we'll see what we can do with him. Zach Frazier, I think he did wear 54, so I think that number's pretty much... yeah, West Virginia, he wore 54, so he's good to go. Now, Rook, I'm pretty sure, number 33, okay. I think we'd actually give him 33. Looks like we can, actually. Let's do that. We had a corner that we selected. I remember that. Max Melton. It's number 16. Stoner used to wear 17 at Oklahoma State, I remember. But I don't know if 17 is available. It is, okay. Wear that. All right, let's go ahead and put Melton at 16. Remember, free safety Kitchens. So right now he's going to back up Minka Fitzpatrick, but I just feel like that eventually Minka is going to leave, so might be good to just have that. And also, BPA. That was kind of what I was thinking, in terms of who's the best guy still available on the board. All right, well, he wears, looks like number 5 at Miami, and he was wearing already 5. Okay, so he's pretty good. He's all set up to go. Kazi, 23. All right. So that's going to be our roster makeup for the preseason starting out for 2024. So that's what we're going to go with. So, I mean, pretty solid first year for, the Steelers rebuild. We didn't make the playoffs, but we did finish with a winning record. And Kenny Pickett took some strides in the first year that we had him as a starter in the rebuild. So I'm gonna stay faithful to him for, maybe the next year or next year after that. I'll wait and see kind of how everything plays out. But for right now, Pickett's going to be our guy. So shout out to everybody for checking out part 1 of the Pittsburgh Steelers rebuild. Sorry I didn't really get any gameplay in during this episode. Hopefully I'll be able to do that in the next one. Probably going to keep it consistent where, maybe one day I do Seahawks, the other day I do Steelers, just to kind of, do 2 rebuilds at once. Hopefully it doesn't get too mind-boggling for me and I, don't forget one or the other. So thank you all for checking out the live stream, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.